Good morning, students. In the previous class, we have discussed about the structure of digestive system of human being. There do we have discussed about the different organs associated to it. Today we'll discuss about the digestive glands. First of all, we should know the literal meaning of the digestive gland. Digestive means the which are certain having the role of digestion to break down into simpler forms, and the glands means they are group of cells which are having certain secretory role. So the first gland we'll discuss that are salivary glands. They are exocrine in nature. Exocrine means they are having their ducts to carry their secretion to the target cell or tissues, and they are three pairs in number. They secrete salivary amylase. Second, the liver, the largest gland of the body, which is also exocrine in nature and having two lobes, the left lobe and the right lobe. What are the functions of liver? It helps in the production of red blood corpuscles or erythrocytes during the embryonic stage. Second, the bile juice produced by the liver, it helps in the emulsification of fats, that is the breakdown of fats into very small micelles. Third, it also activates the enzyme lipase, which helps to break down the fat. Fourth, it also produces heparin for preventing the clotting of blood inside the blood vessels, that is anticoagulant. Fifth function, liver, it also synthesizes urea from ammonia and carbon dioxide. Sixth function, liver also stores the excess amount of carbohydrate in the form of glycogen. One more function, the most important function, due to its high rate of metabolic activity, it helps to produce sufficient amount of heat, due to which liver helps in the maintenance of body temperature. Third, the pancreas. The compound or heterocrine gland means that is having the role of both exocrine and endocrine gland present behind the stomach between the limbs of the U-shaped duodenum. So exocrine, we know the meaning. It is having duct-like structures to carry the secretions, whereas endocrine glands are those glands which are not having their own ducts to release their secretions, and their secretions are called as hormones. So pancreas is one of that such type of gland which is compound in nature, or we mean to say heterocrine in nature, means having both the function, exocrine function also and endocrine function also. Here we may see the stomach. It joins to the small intestine, and this is the duodenum part, the initial part of the small intestine, and within this region this particular compound gland is present, that is called the pancreas. Fourth, gastric glands. From the term it is clear, the glands which are associated to the stomach. So the glands of the stomach are called gastric glands. Just like fifth, intestinal glands. The epithelium of the small intestine bears a large number of glands, and that they will be termed as intestinal glands. Now we'll discuss about the mechanism of digestion. So starting from the mouth, the oral cavity, or we call it as buccal cavity also, the starch, it gets converted into maltose in the presence of the enzyme salivary amylase. Second, digestion in the stomach. Stomach, it is having gastric glands which releases certain enzymes, and we have framed here certain mnemonic to learn it, that is PRLM. Here P here stands for pepsin. Pepsin is present in inactive form pepsinogen. It gets converted into the enzyme pepsin in the presence of hydrochloric acid, and this pepsin, it converts the proteins into proteases and peptones. Second, the enzyme renin, it is also present in the inactive form, that is prorenin. It is converted into its active state renin in the presence of hydrochloric acid, and it converts the milk protein, that is casein, into para-casein. And para-casein along with the calcium ion, it gets converted into calcium para-caseinate. And calcium para-caseinate in the presence of enzyme pepsin, it gets converted into peptones. The third enzyme, the traces of gastric lipases, means very least amount of lipases are present in the stomach, and it helps to convert the fats, but very little digestion occurs within this particular part. One more that substance is released, that is called mucin. It helps to protect the internal lining of the stomach by the action of the hydrochloric acid. So we may have framed here the mnemonic, that is PRLM. P here stands for pepsin, R here stands for renin, L here stands for lipase, and M here stands for mucin. Next we'll enter the digestion in the small intestine. So in the small intestine, certain enzymes are released from the pancreas also, as well as the intestinal juice. So first we'll discuss about the pancreatic enzymes. Again, the mnemonic we have framed here, that is here TC square LAN. The trypsinogen, it is inactive state. It gets converted into the active form trypsin in the presence of introkinase, and chymotrypsinogen, it is also proenzyme. It gets converted into chymotrypsin in the presence of trypsin, and procarboxypeptidases, it also gets converted into carboxypeptidase in the presence of trypsin. And later on, proteins, peptones, and proteases, the trypsin, it gets converted into large peptides. And these large peptides, they are converted by the carboxypeptidases into dipeptides and amino acids. So mean to say, these trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, what they do, they convert the protein into simpler forms that are amino acids at the later on stage. The starch, it is acted by the pancreatic amylase, and it gets converted into maltose. Just like the DNA and RNA, they gets converted by certain enzymes, nucleases, deoxyribonucleases and ribonucleases, into their respective deoxyribonucleotides and ribonucleotides. Just like pancreatic lipase is also secreted, which converts the fats into triglycerides, diglycerides and monoglycerides. So the mnemonic TC square LAN for the pancreatic enzymes. What is T? For T stands for here trypsin, C for chymotrypsin, one more C for carboxypeptidase, L for lipase, A for pancreatic amylase, and N for nucleases. So these are the enzymes released by the pancreas. Next we'll discuss about the intestinal juice. Commonly it is called as succus entericus. Within the intestine, different types of enzymes are released, and the complete digestion of the substances takes place within the small intestine. So the large peptides that has been converted by those trypsin, chymotrypsin, carboxypeptidase, they are being converted into dipeptides and amino acids in the presence of certain enzymes, aminopeptidases. Dipeptides, they are converted by the enzyme dipeptidases into amino acids. So we may come across that proteins, they are made up of amino acids. An amino acid, we can say it is a building block of the protein. So the protein, it gets converted into the simpler form, that is amino acids. Just like the maltose, which is present in the cereal sugar, that gets converted into the glucose plus glucose. That means 2 units of glucose are formed by the enzyme maltase. Just like the sucrose, it is also a disaccharide. It gets converted by the presence of enzyme sucrase into 1 molecule of glucose and 1 molecule of fructose. Just like the substrate galactose, it gets converted by the enzyme lactase into 1 molecule of glucose and 1 molecule of galactose. And the di and monoglycerides in the presence of enzyme intestinal lipases gets converted into fatty acids plus glycerol. And the nucleotides that were formed by the action of nucleases, which were released by the pancreas, they gets converted into nucleosides by the presence of enzyme nucleotidases. And these nucleosides, they are converted into again into simpler form sugar and nitrogenous bases in the presence of enzyme nucleosidases. So these are the basic building blocks of the genetic materials, sugar, nitrogenous bases, and phosphate. Next is digestion in large intestine. So the complete digestion has occurred within the small intestine. Now the food, the undigested matter, it enters to the large intestine. The large stage of chemical simplification of food occurs in the last part of the alimentary canal, that is large intestine. This is carried by bacterial action. Glands of this region tends to secrete mucus. No enzyme is secreted in this point. So what are the functions of large intestine? First, absorption of most amount of water and certain minerals and drugs. Second, secretion of mucus, which helps in adhering the waste or the undigested particles together along with its lubrication for an easy passage. So we have came across here that the end products of digestion are carbohydrates gets converted into glucose, fats are converted into fatty acids and glycerol, and the proteins get converted into amino acids. Till so far here, have a nice day. In the next class we'll discuss about the process of absorption, assimilation and egestion. Thank you. Have a nice day.